What's up YouTube, it's your boy ChasmRift here, and today I got ourselves a pretty interesting video. This is a tier list to kind of rank the top 50, well really 52 Pokemon, because there was like a three-way tie for the 49th/50th spot. But yeah, this is a tier list to just share my thoughts and opinions on the top quote-unquote 50 Pokemon that have been used throughout VGC stats. The reason I'm using VGC stats and not, Trainer Tower, Showdown, or, even the data from Battle Stadium is because, well, really I couldn't find any data. The closest I could find was based off of VGC strats. So, well, VGC stats, I should say. So, yeah, I kind of just compiled all these Pokemon together, and I'm going to make a tier list. This tier list isn't to say, like, these Pokemon are weak or whatnot. It's to kind of go over their viability. Try to make this quick because there's 50 Pokemon. I don't want to be here all day, but I'm gonna get my thoughts and opinions on every one. I don't know how each one of them battle. For example, I'm not very knowledgeable about like Incinerants or really Dolomites, but I'll try to give my best insight on them and where I think they place on the tier list. Of course, this is my opinion. Don't get offended by it, nor should you just take it as just the word of law when it comes to VGC. But I just wanted to have some fun. I'll link it down below, as well as the list I got data from. So yeah, let's just kind of hop right on into it. So this is obviously not in order. I kind of realized this as I was going through that they ordered it based on the actual Pokédex, which is fine. We'll just go across in order. Really, I shouldn't have a. Really, there shouldn't be. We'll name this S+++. There really shouldn't be like a. There really shouldn't be like a new tier list up. And this really shouldn't be like an order. Yeah, I don't think there should be an S tier. Like, I really don't think that, because none of these Pokemon like that I look at, I think stand out and like are cut above everything. But well, maybe except Snorlax when we get into the actual official format. But this is just based off of, like, if I saw these on Battle Stadium, this doesn't include Dynamax or Gmax. Well, I guess Dynamax, but not the Gmax forms. So because of that, we'll just go in order. Yep. I think you guys saw that coming. Alright, so Charizard. Charizard, it's pretty strong. It's also pretty frail. It hits hard. It doesn't take that many hits. I would not use it for, like, setting up anything besides just firing off some solar power boosted moves, maybe Dynamax and get off a max overgrowth or something like that. But I think Charizard is pretty limited. Like, if it's caught in the rain, it's not really strong. I'm just gonna put him at B tier. Butterfree, yeah, let's put Butterfree at D tier. Let's be real. Butterfree is strong when it can set up the sleep powder. It's very annoying when paired up with like a Bronzong or just trying to throw up the powders. I do think his Gmax is gonna be really strong in this format, especially with the added effects of giving random status to opponent guaranteed. I don't know if it's guaranteed. It might be a chance to it, but giving out random status is really strong. I do think Butterfree is very annoying, but if you're able to, like, fake out the Butterfree, then just delete it before the Bronzong can, like, hypnosis you or whoever their partner Pokemon is, Butterfree really isn't that useful overall. It has Tailwind, it has some nice utility, but I think there's room to be desired. Pikachu, we'll put it at B tier. Putting Pikachu at B tier because, yeah, it's not fully evolved, but it gets Fake Out, it gets Nuzzle. I think, don't quote me on this, I think it gets Zing Zap and Helping Hand. If it does, then, we can bump it up to A tier, but just the fact that it gets Fake Out, has Lightning Rod, which is a really good ability, and, has priority of Quick Attack, it can do a bunch of fun little things, and it's a pretty decent utility Pokemon. So, yeah, I'm putting it at B tier. I think it's a little bit stronger than Charizard. Everything I put in this list by the row isn't based on like actual level of strength. It's just I'm just throwing it in the category I believe it belongs in. Vileplume, C tier. Vileplume's really strong with the chlorophyll. Yeah, when you get in the sun, it's pretty interesting. I just don't think it hits like a truck, and the utility it provides is really just powders, and that's kind of it. Not really much if it's being countered in that regard. Alright, Arcanine, A tier, like, no question about that. As a Dynamax, I don't think it's really strong as a Dynamax, but utility, it's all there. Got really good moves, got Snarl, got Will-O-Wisp, you can run it. with Wild Charge, Flare Blitz. Like you could do really bulky and try to just play the long run in the game with it, or you could just run it to be a physical sweeper, things like that. I like the utility it has. It has Morning Sun to, you know, regain some health. It could use Outrage if you want to go down that route, Close Combat if you want to knock out some threats, and it's a pretty solid counter to a lot of threats within the meta right now. So A tier. Galarian Weezing. Have not seen many people use it. Has a really good ability. I think the ability is A tier if it was on a better Pokemon. The typing is really good, but in terms of utility, I gotta put it here B. Gyarados. I don't know when I'm gonna upload this, but I said this Pokemon's pretty overrated. And what I mean by that is people think it's S plus. I don't think it is. I think it's a solid A. The moves are there, the typing is there, has some pretty decent stats if you can set up with it in any regards, whether that's, you know, Dragon Dance, whether that's, you know, getting some max airstreams off or anything like that. It could be a real threat. It could sweep. Its biggest downside is its fragility. I think that's, well, if that's not a word, we're gonna make it up. So yeah, that's where it falls at right there. Lapras. I'm gonna put it at C tier because you can still do cool things like Perish Trap. I have not seen anyone try it yet, but I think paired up with a good Pokemon that could like trap the opponent in, like Gothitelle, maybe even a Dugtrio if you want to be fancy, or any Pokemon that can just trap the opponent in. I think this would be really strong to just try to set up Perish Trap. It has Freeze Dry, so it can stop Rotoms, which is really good in the stock value chart. Outside of that, not really got much going for it. It does get Water Absorb, which is nice. Snorlax. I'm gonna put it at S, and the reason I put it at S because this Pokemon gets moves that I don't even think it should get. Like, why does this thing get Darkest Lariat? Has some really good abilities. Obviously, Gluttony's the best, but you can run Thick Fat if you care enough. Like maybe skill swap Thick Fat to Pokemon is needed. Really strong utility. It's really hard to knock out. Dynamax is really good. When it gets this Gigamax, that's gonna be an even bigger threat, which I think should be banned. But yeah, that's about it. On top, I'm leading between A and B. So I'm gonna put it, I think I'm gonna put it at, screw it, we'll put it at A tier. Intimidate, really good ability. It's been nerfed because of how things have been going with the changes to a lot of moves, but Hitmontop is still good. Has Feint if you want to attack Pokemon that are using Protect. I don't know if it'll actually go through Max Guard. I don't think it would, seeing that, you know, Dynamax moves can go through Max Guard, so whatever. But Feint is still a good move. It has Wide Guard. I think it gets Quick Guard. Not that it really is important, but Wide Guard is pretty good if you want to stop any spread damage. And it gets Close Combat. It has a pretty decent utility. Also learns Earthquake, so yeah, pretty fun. D-Tar, I'm put it at A. I'm put it at S because a lot of people are running it with the weakness policy, and when it's weakness policy, it's you could be in trouble if you don't have a proper counter for it. So yeah, Sandstream's pretty strong. It makes Excadrill really good. Has a really nice typing. Has a really great diversity for moves if you want to run it physical or special. Really, a lot of them are physical right now, but I have run into a fair share amount of special attackers. So if you're worried about being burnt, you do have options if you want to run a Sand team and have T-Tar on it as the focal point. Ludiolo. I think A. I mean S. I keep mixing up. S. Fake Out. With Swift Swim, it can do a lot of crazy things. Right now, the meta is all physical, but there's a lot of Pokemon that are just pretty weak on the special side, like Rhyperior. You know, you get some really good damage on, you know, Duraludon. You get some good damage on Pokemon like Braviary, things like that. So because of those Pokemon being very common, I think it's pretty good to have a Ludicolo who could just outspeed most of them in the right conditions and fire off a lot of good moves. Energy Ball, Scald, you could do Muddy Water, you could do Ice Beam. Like, this Pokemon is running AV, meaning that's going to be even stronger. You know, it's a pretty good counter to the likes of Torkoal as well. So yeah, S tier for that Pokemon. Pelipper, I think I'm gonna put it at B. The utility it brings to the field, especially on the rain team, is pretty A tier worthy if you ask me. Just that the Pokemon, if you try to put it on any other team, it really wouldn't fit right. So I gotta put it at the B tier because it's one of those Pokemon that are very situational in terms of utility. You could try to do some gimmicky stuff with, you know, maybe Dynamax it and get off some max Airstreams to boost up a partner Pokemon. You may want to use the fish for skull burns, but that's you playing the dice with RNG right there. Yeah, I gotta put it right here. I do think it's a pretty good Tailwind setter, but that's about as far as I can say for it. Sableye. It's not the best prankster Pokemon, so I'm put at C. Quash is really strong with this Pokemon, especially since Dynamax is a lot of people are using Dynamax just to set up and whatnot. I think Quash is a really good answer to stop it. The thing is, with the nerf happened to dark types, prankster when it comes to dark types, Sableye got hit hard by that. I do think it's nice to still get off Will-O-Wisps if you want to. I just feel like there's stronger ways to try and neutralize the opponent. Like, there's stronger prankster mons, and there's stronger Pokemon that have better utility with high priority. You know, Follow Me. You know, you got Psychic Terrain, which is to stop a lot of things. Misty Terrain at times can actually stop a Sableye. It's not very common, but yeah, I don't care if y'all saw that. It was just Discord, whatever. Okay, Torkoal. Torkoal, I guess I'll put it A. Pretty good. Just can't really say much about it. In the sun, really strong. Probably S tier in terms of what it could do, how much damage you could get off. The downside is it's really slow, so if you're not using on a Trick Room team, you're kind of leaving it high and dry. It's really hard to set up like speed for it outside of Trick Room. Like, you could try to max Airspeed 3 times in a row with it, and I still think get outsped by a lot of things. So yeah, it's an A. It's really strong. Its biggest weaknesses is Spadef, if you want to neutralize on that, but that's about it. Milotic, yeah, A. Competitive is really strong right now. It's really good typing, has a lot of good diversity, just similar to Ludicolo, but it's not that great outside of that. Kind of speeding through this. I'll see how much time is on the clock right now. Dusclops. It's pretty strong. It has a good ally switch. I'll put it here because it's a really strong alternative to try to do Trick Room if you really want to. It has room to be desired for. It's not really used for offensive measures, so really in terms of offense, it's really a 3v4 if you're running Dusclops. I see people try to ally switch. I see people try to use Will-O-Wisp to try to turn the tides in their favor, but really, if you can neutralize the Dusclops as and make it not really a threat, if you can do the right reads, you can really take advantage of the fact that the opponent doesn't have a really reliable attacker on their side. Roserade. I've not seen too much of it. I can't really speak on it. When I did battle Roserade, it wasn't too crazy. I think I'm putting it at D. Gastro. This Pokemon's debating my existence. I want to put it at S tier for just being annoying to battle against. But with the stock value of Ferrothorn and Rotom-Mow and even Whimsicott being out there, hell, Duraludon is even a decent counter to it. I think I'm just going to put it at A. It's pretty strong, has some good utility. It's a really strong special attack and ground type, which is actually more valuable than people realize, I think, especially in the meta where we got, you know, Rhyperior, we got Excadrill, we got just the Mudsdale even. We got a bunch of strong, you know, ground types. Having a special attacking ground type Pokemon can really change the tide and really be a nice solid counter to a lot of things, like Torkoal, for example. Rhyperior. I think I'm putting it at S because there aren't that many people running a good special attacker to neutralize it. It's pretty much similar to Tyranitar in terms of how it's ran with the weakness policy. It has a good ability in Rock Head or Rock Armor, I forget which one it is. Basically, it reduces the damage you'll take from super effective hits. So combine that with a weakness policy and Trick Room, it's really hard to stop. Without Trick Room, I think it's probably B tier to be completely honest, but we'll move on. Togekiss. Yeah, I'm being a little generous with this, but Serene Grace, Air Slash, T-Wave is still very strong. It's still very gimmicky, but it's in a good way. Tailwind, if you want to set up, because it's very strong and very bulky. You can just Follow Me if you got a partner Pokemon that you want to set up with. And you can even Dynamax, and it's not even a bad option. You can get some max Airstreams going. You can give Misty Terrain up if you're running a Fairy type move. Like D-Gleam is still a thing if you want to like get spread damage off that way, because there's people running a lot of Grimmsnarl. You know, we got people running just Pokemon that are carrying Sash, so just having spread damage moves just gives you better options to stop a lot of things in this meta, and I think that's very underrated. The Rotoms, I think all the Rotoms, to keep it completely honest, I think they're all A tier. You know, like, this is gonna be the only time I'll actually like order them, and I think this is a strong order right here. I think Rotom-Mow is the best out of the three. As weird as that sounds, like back in Gen 4 and Gen 5, people never really used Rotom Mode. They used Rotom Heat and Rotom Wash. But Rotom Mode is a really strong counter to a lot of things, and a very sandstorm heavy meta, and a very strong meta where it's about, like, you know, who can set up the sand, who can set up rain. You know, it's a good ally to have in the sun when you can run Leaf Storm, you can run Willow to stop a lot of threats. It's a really strong Pokemon. Of course, all the Rotoms get that. It's just Leaf Storm is a little bit stronger than Hydro Pump and Overheat because, you know, the trade-off is you lower your special attack, but I feel like it's a little bit better than trying to risk hitting the Hydro Pump, especially since Rain isn't as strong as it used to be. So sorry, Rotom. Excadrill, that's pretty self-explanatory. Conkeldurr, putting that B. It's really strong with the guts. It's used on a lot of Trick Room teams. If it's not right period, then the offense is running through Conkeldurr. I feel like if you get rid of the Trick Room, it's not that strong. Or you hit it with a really strong Fairy type or Flying type special attack, you can really just delete a Conkeldurr. It's not very threatening when I see one on the battlefield. Whimsicott. The 30 things I've been seeing with this Pokemon, putting it up here. I battled someone who used Switcheroo next to Lucario, and they Switcherooed, eject button to my Torkoal, and then a Bullet Punch. They expect me to Dynamax. This is based off of Wolfie's team because the opponent had a shiny Pescagon. If you also know what a Pescagon is, that's the different language name for Dracovish. So yeah, Wolfie made an interesting team. We all know what Whimsicott could do. Beat up, set up. It can use pretty much anything it wants to with that Prankster. So yeah. Y'all probably saw the video already when this is going up where I battled against a Darmanitan. I don't think it's that strong, personally, but I mean it's pretty much choice banded already. Just give it a scarf. And you got both best of both worlds. So I'm just gonna put it at B tier right now. Uniclus. Let's put it at D. I think it has potential. I just don't know too much to say about it right now. I'm just gonna put it there. Jellicent, we'll put it at C because it's a really good counter to water types. That sap move it has is really good to stop any physical attackers, and it can set up Tailwind. I mean Trick Room, so that's why I got it at C instead of D. Fearow, B. Ferrothorn is not as strong as it used to be, but it's still a very strong threat if you don't have a proper counter for it. And the reason it's not at A tier is because they gave pretty much every Psychic and Fairy type. They pretty much gave them Mystical Fire, which that kind of nerfs Ferrothorn, especially with Torkoal running around and Torkoal being slower in a Trick Room setting. Torkoal kind of wins out 99% of those matchups. Shandy is underrated. With the amount of Grimmsnarls running around and people setting up screens, I think Infiltrator Chandelure stock value has shot up more than people expect. So yeah, Heat Wave, Shadow Ball, Energy Ball. It could also get Trick Room if you want to just be cheeky and nullify opponent's Trick Room. Because odds are, if you're running Chandelure, you're using it for speed, and it's not really good to use in Trick Room. So using it to nullify Trick Room that's an option. It's a poor man's Whimsicott if that's your strategy. Hexorus. Moldbreaker is good, but I gotta call it like I see. Hexorus is not the best dragon type. Let's move on. Braviary. That Defiant boost, man. Like, if y'all seen the video where I battled with Braviary and my team and it was burnt and everything, Braviary shot up from being like a B or a C tier to all the way to A, if not S, based on just how strong and resilient it is. Hydreigon. A lot of strong moves. Levitate is really strong, so if you're not battling any Mold Breaker Pokemon like Excadrill or Haxorus, it can get set up. The issue is 4 times weak to Fairy, and it doesn't have, and its stats are weird. It has, if you're running physical, you're missing out on this great special attack. If you're running special, you're missing out on this great physical attack. So unfortunately, it's one of those Pokemon where it just has stat usage potential that's just going to be wasted no matter what, and that's kind of a deal breaker for me. It is good to like switch it up on the opponent to make them guess, similar to what this Pokemon is going to be. Aegislash. I think Aegislash is strong. I just don't think it's that strong in a double setting, especially if you're not setting up Trick Room. So I think I'm putting it at C tier because there's a lot of strong answers to Aegislash. Like I said, Mystical Fire being a thing. Yeah, you can. I think you can run Indeedee and Hatterene, and they could both use Mystical Fire to double team on the Aegislash in a weird scenario. Also, you got Sylveon, so like, Yeah. Sylveon, B tier. Can't believe so many people are running quick attack on the Sylveon. I guess it's nice to have priority fairy type move, quote unquote. But Sylveon has always been strong. You got helping hand. You can run Charm if you want. Mystical Fire is where they got it right now, so it has a solid answer to Steel types, which has always been the bane of his existence. Yeah, I'm putting it right there. Mudsteel, calling it like I see it. It has potential. It could set up. It could be very strong. But it's one of the Pokemon that really relies on the partner. Like, it's very situational. Like, you can set up next to a Mudsteel, but I just think you need a really strong like partner. Maybe Trick Room. Maybe something that's really bulky that could nullify physical attack to get the defense going for this thing. But yeah, I don't think it's that strong. Passimian, same thing. Put it down here. Mimikyu, I'm not one of those people who are crying about the nerf to this guy. You know, this guy is just pretty broken back in Gen 7. I still think Mimikyu has a lot of potential. It can still set up the way it wants to, just that it can't set up with full health. Yeah, I think it's really strong, especially if you could Dynamax it on a free turn. Delmice, don't know too much about it, but I have battled one. It's not really that strong, if you ask me. It's really good special. It has really good physical attack and physical defense, so I guess I'm putting it at C. Incinerance, don't know too much. It's very fast. I've seen its promise. It does have a great hitting ability that makes it a basically Greninja 2.0. So I'm at the very least gonna put it at B tier. This is a placeholder. I think it's gonna be A tier once we get hold of that hitting ability. Corviknight, yeah, pretty much everything I said about Brave, I already say the same thing about Corviknight, except it's a steel type. Barraskewda is really strong. But here's the thing, it's really strong, and when it's in Swift Swim, you're pretty much gonna outspeed everything, and that's common and viable in the meta. The issue is though, like Barraskewda's speed is so crazy that it doesn't really need Swift Swim. It's good to have it in case you're battling against Scarfmons, but you know, it's so fragile. Like, if you're not one-shotting the opponent and you're in a 1v1 scenario, yeah, you kind of lost that battle. Toxtricity has potential. Overdrive into Throat Spray is pretty good. It is pretty frail and slow, so I'm just gonna put it at C. Don't see too much going on for it. Hatterene, the setup it could do is really good. Put it at A right there. Pretty strong as a special attacker. On its own, I don't think it's that good though, so I'm just gonna put it at A because the way it's being ran, it's pretty hard to stop it. Grimmsnarl, we'll put it at S. It's really hard to stop Grimmsnarl. You need a really good steel type if you really want to do something to it, because there aren't that many poison types in the meta. I think right here on this list we got like 3, maybe. Like, we got Roserade, we got Galarian Weezing, and we got Toxtricity. Those are like the only 3 poison types, so really kind of just relying on like stab steel type moves to do damage to it, or a Pokemon that could just bypass its barriers. Indeedly, it's not that good, honestly. Like, real talk, it's not that strong. It's only strong next to its partner Pokemon. It helps the other Pokemon shine, so it's kind of like the John Stockton of setup, but I just feel like Hatterene is really the shining star of like a Trick Room setup team. Dracovish, oh man, I want to put it in C tier because of many reasons, but I'm putting it at B. It's pretty strong. If this Pokemon hits you, it's gonna hit like a truck. It's pretty hard to. It's not hard to stop it, but many teams aren't built to just counter it. So I'm just gonna put it here at B. It relies on Choice Scarf. You get rid of the Choice Scarf, or you put in a situation where it can't be the first one to hit with Fish's Wren, you kind of delete the whole game plan with it. There are many ways to bypass it. You know, having a good, strong water type, having a steel type like a Ferrothorn, you really kind of shut it down, because once it's locked into a Scarf move, you can just play around it. It happened to me, and it happened to many other people. Duraludon, show it some love. A tier. Get this thing at AB, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Dragapult, pretty strong, pretty hard hitting, but I'm putting it at B to wrap up this tier list because, yeah, it's not the greatest thing ever. So yeah, I think that's the end of it right here, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope the explanations were pretty good and my breakdowns. You could try to do this yourself. I'm gonna leave everything down below. If you know, post them on Discord, send me tweets about these if you want, anything like that. Other than that, I'm about to get out of here, guys. Let me know down below, like, do you agree with this tier listing? Is there anything you'll personally change, anything like that? I'm making these right now because after the last video of the Miraculous team, I'm just gonna be taking a little break. I will be battling maybe on the last day of the year, but I'm not gonna be making any like set videos until like 2020. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm about to get out of here. Everything's gonna be down below. Gates full open. I guess I gotta close them. So bye. I'm gonna save and download this. Okay.